Revelation chapter 17. Be thankful it's just one chapter this week, not two. Okay, verse 1 says, "And there came one of the seven angels, which had the seven vials, and talked with me." I read that, and I think, you got John sitting there or standing there, and then one of those angels that had one of those seven vials that we talked about last week walks up to John. I'm thinking if that was me, I'd start fidgeting. I'd be just a little nervous. Which had the seven vials and talked with me, saying, "Come on, come hither. I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore." Now that, if we don't get this, we're not going to get anything else. The great whore here is referencing, I believe, that false religious system that the Antichrist, that the false prophet has set up. That sitteth upon many waters, the waters talking about the people, all those that are deceived or that followed him or followed this religious system. Last time I didn't pick up on this, and it said that sitteth upon. If you're sitting on something, that tends to reference that you've conquered it, that you're over it. So you've got this angel is saying, I'm going to tell you the judgment of this false or against this false religious system that has conquered all these people, that has deceived all these people. I will say, my personal opinion is that a lot of people were deceived. But I think also a lot of people willingly followed or fell into this false religious system. Just think of current events. People are a lot more likely to believe a lie than they will the truth when the truth is staring them in the face. Now we know that Satan is the master deceiver, best liar there ever has been. And he's just spouting forth these lies and this deceitfulness. But I think people at this time, they're going to willingly believe these lies. Verse 2 says, "With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication." We should know this from our previous study, but if we don't, we're going to find out in today's lesson. There's a 10-nation alliance that aligns itself with or behind the Antichrist. These 10 kings are the 10 rulers of these nations. My personal opinion, they're going to become filthy rich. They're going to be, my opinion, the most ungodly, the most immoral rulers this world has ever known. Because who is their ruler? Satan himself. We think it's been bad in the past. I don't think we can really comprehend how bad it will be at this time. And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Who is her? This great whore. Who is this? This false religious system. And if you've been made drunk, you've had something in excess, too much of it. And whatever it is that you've had in excess, it starts to control you. So that is saying right here that this false religious system, it will control those people that buy into it. Verse 3 says, "So he," this angel, "carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman," this is that false religious system, "sit upon a scarlet-colored beast." This beast is none other than the Antichrist, who is Satan in fleshly form. Why scarlet-colored? Why do you think scarlet-colored? mimicking Jesus. We're going to just see that throughout this entire chapter. The Antichrist, I think, is going to be stained with the blood of all the, who knows how many people that he kills. All the Christians, all those that are saved in the tribulation that he kills. And he says, full of names of blasphemy. Once again, in Scripture, how many names does Jesus have throughout Scripture? Don't know. It's a lot. But here we have Satan, the Antichrist, once again trying to mock Jesus with a lot of names, having 7 heads and 10 horns. We'll come back to that here in just a minute. And the woman, this false religious system, was arrayed in purple and scarlet color and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. What does this tell us? This religious system is going to be appealing. It's going to offer everyone what they think they need, what they think they want. And it's going to be so appealing. But look what it says in the rest of the verse. Having a golden cup in her hand. But look what's in it. Full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. We're talking about a religious system here. Full of abominations. This religious system that Satan himself sets up, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Make no doubt about it. Satan is in charge. He is ruling everything that's going on right now. Let me back up. God is allowing Satan to be in charge. Ultimately, God is in charge. I think we understand that. But at this point in time, and we're going to see how John he thinks Satan is winning at this point. And look what it says in verse 6. And I saw the woman, this false religious system, drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. So how are people, all these thousands of people that are saved, they're going to be killed in the name of religion. The religion that this false prophet sets up. And is this not already happening in the Middle East? Yeah. I mean, they kill in the name of religion. Mm-hmm. But in the tribulation, it's going to be a worldwide event. And then look at the last part of verse 6. You have to stop and think about this a minute. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. John is not impressed in the sense of the definition of admiration that we get. John, rather, is in a state, I guess, disbelief. He is, one, amazed that people actually buy into this religious system. But also, I think he's worried. Is Satan really going to win at this point? And I say that because of what happens in the rest of the chapter. I think I don't know if the word unsure is proper, but I think he's confused. And let's continue. Verse 7. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? What's wrong, John? Why are you confused? He says, this angel, I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, this false religious system, and of the beast, the Antichrist, that carried her, which had the 7 heads and 10 horns. So the beast that thou sawest was, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. Let me stop right here. This verse sounds like a riddle. I just said, I think John maybe is confused. Maybe John is like, is Satan going to win? Notice how many times in the rest of the chapter that this angel says, no, Satan doesn't win, God wins. Look what he says in verse 8, and go into perdition. Right at the very beginning, the angel says, John, don't worry. Satan doesn't win, God wins. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. Riddle. At least that's what it sounds like. Here in a minute, Satan is about to quit lying. Satan is about to quit deceiving people. Satan is about to reveal himself for who and what he truly and he really is. And we'll see that as we get into it. Verse 9, and here's the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. This, I believe, is referring to the 7 great empires that will have existed at this time. Now, 6 have already been. Now, when I say great empires, I'm talking about world-dominating empires. Let's continue reading and we'll see. And there are 7 kings. 5 are fallen. I had to write these down. No way I could remember it. It's talking about the 5 empires. Now, we've got to put ourselves at the time that John is writing this. Not today, but at the time that John is writing this. There are 7 kings, 5 are fallen. That would be the Egyptian empires, the Assyrian empires, the Babylonian empire, the Persian empire, and the Grecian empire. Those were world-dominating empires. They controlled the world. But yet, they're gone at this time. So there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is. Remember, put ourselves at the time that John is writing this. That 1 is the Roman Empire. It was in control at that time. And the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. The other, I think, refers to the empire that the Antichrist sets up. These are remember, these are world-dominating empires. Not like what we have today where the United States rules the United States. But, I mean, we're talking world empires. Satan's empire, the Antichrist's empire, will be a world-dominating empire. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, notice, and goeth into perdition. The second time, the angel assures John, don't worry, Satan is not going to win. God is going to win. But the riddle of verse 11, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7. So what in the world does that mean? Okay, take the 6 empires that have already come and gone. Who were they controlled by? Satan. Were they godly empires? No. I mean, they ruled by fear. They ruled by intimidation. There were absolutely no morals, no ethics to these empires or to these rulers. How do you think it's going to be when the Antichrist is ruling? Definitely not godly. So, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th. I believe that is referring to Satan, who is is in control of, or was in control of all these previous six, who will be in control of the Antichrist empire. Verse 12, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. Verse 12 has not happened yet. Verse 12 will happen in the tribulation period. This is referring to there will be a 10-nation alliance that aligns itself with Satan. These 10 kings will be, I believe, the most ungodly men that have ever. I don't think Alexander the Great and all those other Caesars, as bad, as ungodly as they were, I don't think they'll hold a candle to how ungodly, immoral, unethical these 10 kings are that will come, that will align themselves with the Antichrist. And it says, verse 13, these have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These 10 kings, since they have one mind, they're going to be nothing more than just puppets on a string. They will be under the complete control, domination of the Antichrist, who is Satan. But look at verse 14. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. Third time that the angel has said, John, don't worry. Satan loses, God wins. The first time is in verse 8, and shall go into perdition. The second time is in verse 11, and goeth into perdition. The third time is in verse 14, and the Lamb shall overcome them. God wins. For he is, now get this, we need to, if you hadn't underlined this verse, you need to underline it, highlight it or something. For he is Lord of lords and King of kings. And this is the part. And they, who is the they here? I believe that they are you and I. I believe that they are every saved individual that's ever lived. So that puts, I'm going to change that from they to we, because we're in this class. And we, kind of brings it home, that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. We're going to see this victory. We're not going to be on the sidelines. We're actually going to partake of it. We're going to see it. And he saith unto me, this verse pretty much makes sense. The waters which thou sawest, all those people, the lost people, where the whore sitteth, this false religious system, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. They willingly, some are deceived, some are tricked, but I personally think more, it's not as much as they were deceived, they willingly fell into this false religious system. Verse 16, this is another amazing verse. Remember I said back earlier that there come a point in time where Satan will no longer try to deceive. Satan will reveal himself for who and what he truly is. Look what verse 16 says. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, get this, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Satan turns on himself. Brother Micah brought a lesson, our series of lesson on Wednesday nights several months ago about the Antichrist. And he made the statement that during the tribulation, he felt like religion would be at an all-time high. And I truly believe that. I mean, things are going to be bad. People are going to be looking for a way out. They will turn to religion. They will, and I keep saying this, and I'm sorry that I'm rambling about it. I think people will willingly buy into this false religious system. Throughout Revelation, how many times does God give people a way out? Over and over and over. People say, well, I want it handwritten on the wall. God sent an angel, I know, at least twice. My interpretation, flying at treetop level, yelling, shouting, preaching, telling them the truth. The people refused to believe the truth. They bought into this false religious system, and then here, Satan, he's going to do away with it. He's not going to try to deceive them any longer. He is going to be, in verse 16, Satan is going to reveal himself for who, I'm repeating myself, who and what he really and truly is. And at this point, it will be too late. He will have them so much under his control. Look what verse 17. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. At this point in time, when this happens, Satan will be, he is such a great liar, that he will deceive himself. He will believe, Satan will say, I've won. When he does away with this false religious system, because he doesn't need to deceive or trick people anymore, he will think, that's it. I've won. God, what does it say? For God hath put in their hearts. God, I'll do you like the angel did John. Don't worry about it. Satan loses and God wins. That's it. Do y'all have any